Hi, my name is Katie Helliwell. I am the psychic expert. I've got over 20 years experience working with spirit, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'll be dropping content every single day to this channel. All you need to do is like and subscribe, and also just let me know if what I'm producing for you is actually what you really want to see, or if there's any other content that you've been thinking about and would like to know more insight on. There is nothing I can't explain and give you insight on, so it'll be a pleasure to hear from you. Also, please make sure you follow all my other channels as well, my Instagram, my TikTok, and my Facebook business page. If you go into the description on this video, can't get my words out, if you go into the description, you will be able to see the links there to my Facebook group, Talk Spirit to Me. I'm live in there 3 times a week, and it'd be a pleasure to have you. Anyway, enough from me. Enjoy the trainings. You would like to know more information and you want to develop your psychic abilities, you want to learn how to connect to your guides on a much deeper level, you want to access bespoke meditations, activations, you want to understand what your star sign means with regards to your spiritual gift, and you want to learn about the new content that's dropped today, which is what we're discussing this week, which is how to communicate with your loved ones on the other side. There's a training that's literally just been dropped today in the membership just for that. Then you will be able to access the Talk Spirit to Me membership. It's priced at $44 per month. You can join and cancel at any time, so you're not held hostage. If you want to go in, see what it's like and access all those trainings that are worth thousands all combined together, you can watch them all for $44. And if you don't want to stay there, you don't have to. But we drop new content constantly in there. You get access to it, and it's amazing. So if you would like to access that, I will just let you have the link now. Let me just find it for you. Because you will find that people will talk about it in the group and you'll be wondering, what is this membership that people talk about? What is it? Well, this is what it is. So I'm going to put it on here now, and we're going to get started on tonight's topic, which is all about understanding whether your spirit guide, not your spirit guides, whether your loved ones on the other side are actually hearing you. So have you actually ever tried to communicate with your loved ones on the other side? And when I say try to communicate, what they actually mean by that is communicating in the form of actually speaking to them. Have you ever tried to speak to them? Have you ever tried to talk to them in any capacity, whether it be through your mind or whether it be through in just your blocks of thought? Have you ever tried to do any kind of connection? Have you visited their place of rest and actually spoke out loud to them? Have you acknowledged them on Christmas or birthdays or other anniversaries or other celebrations? Have you ever done this and ever sat there and then thought to yourself, so let me know in the comments if you have done that, and let me know, have you ever thought to yourself, do they hear me? Do they hear me? Do my loved ones actually hear me? Am I just talking to myself? Am I just wishing that they were there? Am I just wishing that they hear me? Just wishing that they are communicating some way? And there's people that have actually said to me, should we not let the people that have crossed over just be rested and there in peace? Do we need to contact them? Should it be allowed? Should it be something that we do? And the answer is, they are there for you. You can communicate with them at any time and they hear you. The fact of the matter is they hear you, they do. And if you're wondering, should you be leaving them alone and kind of letting them do their own thing and resting in peace and just let them be gone, let them move on to the other world? The answer is, if you need their comfort and you want to communicate with them, they are 1000% behind that communication. And you wanting to communicate with them doesn't take away that time away from them moving on or having peace or finding their way on the other side. It doesn't interfere with that at all. And if you watched last night's training, you will understand that we covered most of that then, and I went into detail about it. And obviously in the membership, you get a lot more information on this. But in a nutshell, they hear you. Your loved ones hear every single word that you say. There's part of you then that's probably going to go, oh my God, they hear everything I say. Oh my gosh, but I say so much. And do they hear the good, the bad, the ugly? What do they hear? And we're going to cover this. And I'm going to teach you how you can actually speak to them, speak to your loved ones, without having the stress and worry of, have they actually heard me? I'm going to teach you something tonight that is so simple, and you can start doing straight away, straight after this call. The minute you jump off it, you can start putting this into action. It is so simple and it's so easy to do, and it will get you a clear connection. And when I say this to you, you're going to be like, why did I not think of this? This makes so much sense. How could I have not even considered this or even thought about it? But it works. It works. And it will really help you amplify to the next level, which leads us into Friday's training, which I'll talk about in a minute. So are you all wanting to know what that is? I just want to know, have you ever made a connection? Have you ever tried? So hello, Terry, darling. Christina's saying, oh, wow, where to begin? Membership is absolutely amazing. There's so much great stuff in there. I love it. Oh, I'm so pleased. Make sure you check out this training in there. Bev saying yes, that she's made contact. Kathy's saying all the time. Bev saying she's not signed up yet. Bev, get in there. What are you waiting for? You'll love it. So yes, Kim's saying she's tried as well. Okay, perfect. Do you actually feel, and please put on replay as well if you're watching this on replay, talk to me because I do read your comments. Do you feel that when you're making that connection, when you're talking to them, do you honestly feel that they've heard you? Like, I would be interested to see how many of you actually feel that, yes, they've definitely heard me. You can say it with like an air of confidence that I know they've heard me. I know that they've communicated. I know that I've done it. I know I've made that connection. If you've got that, let me know. If you feel almost as if I'm not actually sure, it doesn't feel 100%, I'm not totally clear on it, I can't be sure that I definitely have, but I'd like to think I have, let me know which camp you're in. If you're unsure, just put I'm unsure. But if you're not, then just put yes, I'm completely sure I've made the connection. So sometimes I know they've heard me. Yes, definitely, Christina says. Yes, I like to think that they've heard me. I talk more to angels. Kim saying I can feel spirits and sometimes see them. I think they hear me, but I'm not sure I'm hearing them or if it's my thinking. Yeah, so Kim, with spirits, so this, I want to kind of teach this just for your loved ones on the other side. So if you're connecting to spirit for psychic connection for a different kind of energy, and you're just trying to pass on information and that's completely, totally different, its entirety. Head to the membership area, go into the psychic development section, and there's a whole host of information there that will cover that. But for tonight's training, I just want to make sure it's very relatable to our loved ones so that people get that respite, because I know how much it means to you to get that connection and just have that moment just with them, just for a second. Let's have a look. Can you talk to them in your mind without speaking out loud? Yes. Yes, I'll come to that, Terry. Sometimes I hope they do. Yeah, the pigeon came, yes. We'll get onto that a little bit more on Friday. God, you guys, you're like leaping on ahead. Okay, so just to cover it, they will have heard you. So if you speak to your loved ones and you say it in your head, and you ask a question or you communicate in some way in your head, they hear you. They hear you. If you speak out loud, they hear you. If you have a block of thought that's about them, they hear you. So they hear every aspect of it. It's like all their senses are just heightened in every capacity. They're just massively heightened. They're massively tuned into you, more than they could ever imagine before, which is why I say that if they're your guides and they want to help you on earth and they want to be one of your guides, then they can do so much more for you now than they could when they were on the other side. So to put it really simply here, I've got some notes, that's why I'm looking down. What I want you to try and think of, and this is the thing that I'm going to teach you that I was talking about that you wouldn't have even considered or even across your mind necessarily, but it's so simple. We need to make sure that when we are articulating and communicating and making a connection, whether it be the block of thought, whether it be speaking out loud, whether it be speaking in our minds, however we're doing it, whatever, we could be writing to our loved ones, whatever communication type you're doing, what we need to do is make sure that we're actually saying who it's actually for that we're communicating. So if it's your dad, then you say, Dad, I need to do this, or I want to share this with you, or I want to make this connection with you, or mom, or whoever it is that's up there, whoever your loved one is, address them by the name or address them by the way that you would have addressed them if they were living. And what this means is, and I know this sounds crazy because there's part of us that sometimes thinks, well, why would I need to say their name, or why would I need to declare who I'm speaking to? Because they know if they've got the bigger picture and they've got all their senses activated, why do I need to specify who I'm actually speaking to? But here's the gist, and here's where it gets a little bit more interesting, but a little bit more complex. If you are imagining that they are there tuning into you, they are watching over you, guiding you, sometimes they're your guide, and you are talking to spirit multiple times a day. And if you're in my world and you're in my training programs, you'll be speaking to spirit multiple times a day. Then your loved ones aren't always 100% sure it's them that you're communicating with. So it's our job to make it clear that we are making a communication to them. So it's a bit like if you were to walk into a room, a very busy room, maybe you're walking into a hall and there's lots of people in this hall, say 100 people, and you just start talking like this. You don't articulate your words, you don't speak out loud, you don't speak with conviction, like I have something to say or I am speaking for someone. And then there could be a person that you were trying to communicate with all the way down the other side of the hall, and you're there going, well, they're rude. Why haven't they heard me? They haven't heard me. And the person's over the other side of the hall, and you're like, still haven't responded. Why haven't they heard me? What's going on? Think about it in the sense of, if you were to go into that hall and say, and stand up on like a soapbox or something and say, I'm just going to use a random name here, and say, Jeff, is there a Jeff Smith? Jeff Smith, where are you? I'm over here, I'm here. Jeff Smith starts waving at you. And it's like, right, this message is for Jeff Smith. And then you say, this is the communication. So can you understand that if you go into a room and just randomly speak when there's lots of people around there, no one knows who you're talking to? The chances are your person that knows you will go, oh, there's you, and then come over and probably have a chat with you. But regardless of that, if you walked in and just spoke, no one's going to know it's you that they're speaking to. Isn't that true? Have you ever thought about it like this? You probably haven't. But that's the case. Whereas if you actually say the person's name and declare who you're speaking to, then everybody else that's around is going to kind of disregard what's been going on or who you're communicating and just leave you to have the conversation. So this is so simple. Yeah, I know so many people don't do it. They just start talking. They don't actually say who they're talking to. They don't say, I want to communicate with so-and-so. I want to make a connection with so-and-so because they're my person that I'm communicating with here, and I miss you and I love you and I want to have some interaction with you. So if you are speaking to them in your mind out loud on a piece of paper, in a block of thought, always say the name of who it is that you're actually communicating with, and use the name that you would have used to connect with them when they were human. So if you called them mom, call them mom. You called them dad, call them dad. If you called them Jeff, call them Jeff. Whatever it was that you called them, communicate that name. So you're actually isolating that individual and you can speak to them. All right, so that's really important. And the thing is with this, if you're not going through any kind of psychic training, you haven't done any kind of psychic development, you're not always going to know when you're actually connected or when you're actually receiving a message from them. Now, we're going to go into this more on Friday when we're going to cover how to start communicating with your loved one, like the step-by-step process. I'm going to teach you all of that. But if you are a psychic or you've done some kind of psychic activation work, because you're all psychic, but the ones who are activated and have done some training around it, you're going to understand the feeling and the sensation and the sign of when you're connected. So you'll understand when you declare and speak to your loved one on the other side, you'll feel a very similar sensation that you have when you connect to your spirit guides as when you've made that connection to that person and they've felt you and heard you. So they'll get, because your channels are naturally open and you've naturally made that energy funnel come to you, I don't know how to word it any other way, they will automatically use the energy funnel to let you know that they're there. So it'll be very easy for them to communicate back to you, and very easy for you to get the message through as well. So it's just a lot simpler. It works really easy. So they hear every word. If you're not psychically activated, you probably wouldn't understand that feeling, but we're going to work on that on Friday, on how you can start communicating and understand that they've actually got your communication. I know some of you shared some of your stories in here, which is amazing, and I'll be going through more on Friday. But I want you to understand here that as long as you say their name and as long as you're communicating with them, they want to hear you. They want to hear you. They want to hear from you. They want to communicate with you. You are not stopping them from going about their daily tasks up there, not stopping them from moving on and finding peace. You're not preventing them from doing anything. They will be able to communicate back to you, and they do hear every single word. And the reason I know for absolute certainty that they hear every word is because when I've done readings, the spirit tells me conversations you've had or things that you've done, or we've had scenarios where people have cried themselves to sleep and said certain words to their person, and the person's told me what the words they've said and that they cried themselves to sleep. So it just shows you that there was only that person and your spirit loved one there with you. So how would anyone know that? It's like, that's proof that they actually do hear you. They do. They hear everything. But if you're having a private conversation with someone, or if there is a moment where you're having a private human moment, then they don't overhear everything that isn't relevant to them. It's very much about what they can guide you on, what they can nurture you on, what they can give you commitment and energy and, advice on, and what's relevant for them. So it isn't everything. So I don't want you to feel like your privacy's been invaded, and once you open this door, you're never going to get rid of them, or they're always going to be there watching over. Some people love that, but you'll be surprised. Some people are like, I just want my privacy. I don't want them listening to everything. I don't want them hearing every little last thing that I do or say. That feels almost overwhelming and a bit too much. But it's as simple as that. It is as simple as you just declare that you're speaking to them. They listen in that moment, and then they can help you and advise you from that place, or give you their sign that they let you know that they're there, which we're going to talk about on Friday. And it just feels so easier. It just feels so much easier for you. But they absolutely hear you. But remember, they'll hear you more clearly when you specify that you're speaking to them and you specify their name. And once you do that, there's no confusion. I know I told you it's super simple. I told you there's nothing like groundbreaking here, but they'll be amazed at how many people don't use their name and don't make that correlation. So I'm so glad I've shared that with you. Hello, Amy, my newbie. You are welcome. Hello, Danielle. I've never heard the name Jeff, and I asked my spirit guide their name, and it was Jeff, just like you said it. I knew that was going to be for someone. I knew. Bev saying, oh gosh. So does that make sense, everyone? Let me know. Does that all make sense for you? And we are going to go through even more on Friday. I think I'm back at 12 o'clock on Friday. Before I tell you the wrong time. So we're going to start communication. Let me just get that up. I'm running. Yeah, we're starting 12 o'clock on Friday. So if you can join me then, or if you can't join live, just watch on replay. It's not a problem. The membership is open for you all. So the link has been pinned. We are going into more detail on this in the membership. Clarification, I'm in the right place at the right time. Yes, exactly. And Kim saying yes, amazing. So I will be seeing you. Oh, so Abby's been speaking to a spirit guide. Love that, love this. This is about your loved one on the other side though. And if they choose to be your spirit guide, then great. But this is very much specifically aimed at communicating with your loved ones on the other side. I want to give you all a bit of light relief, because nothing can ever bring them back, and I can appreciate that. But then also, not everyone feels comfortable going to a medium. And some people want to make sure that they can tune in and connect with their loved one on a daily basis, and it will help their grieving process and help them feel more comforted in some way. And so I feel it's really important to share this information with you, to give you that respite and to give you that comfort, because I speak to people every day that have lost people that's so close to them, and I see firsthand what pain that does and what it can bring to people's lives. So if these simple steps can help you get that tiny bit of something from your loved one, then it's all worth implementing, isn't it? And it's certainly worth me sharing with you. So come back on Friday and I will teach you even more. I love you all so very much. Thank you very much for being part of this group. Welcome to all our newbies. Make sure you tune in to the start of this so it makes more sense. And also go check out all the other trainings that are at the top of the Facebook group. They're all featured and labelled. And I love you all, and I'll see you all very soon. Big kisses, big loves, and thank you for being here. Bye. Speak to you soon.